Rebecca Boland,
Here.
Dr. Flowers,
Present.
Jaleva James.
Here.
Robert Leary.
Here.
Thomas Phelan.
Here, I'm sorry.
Dr. Power.
Here.
Dr. Charles Shoemaker.
Here.
All present, pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have somebody asking to make public comment.
Moment of silence.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Mike, can you hold just a second? I missed an item. Can you read it, please? Moment of silence. You'll have to excuse us. We've got a new format here.
Public comment? I don't see it. Okay, thank you. Richard J. Turner of Middletown passed away suddenly on Saturday, August 2nd, 2014. He is survived by his brother, Kelly Turner, Rogers High School custodian, and wife, Melissa Turner, Thompson Middle School grade 5 teacher. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Dr. Shoemaker and members of the school committee. Mike Cullen, 19 Bayside Avenue, speaking just for myself. The topic is cybersecurity and a major opportunity for NACTech and your information technology program here. First, some prepared comments. Newport Grand next year could be called Newport's Monte Carlo, just a 5-minute bike ride I noticed from the Pell School. Each day, I'm sure many Newport school kids drive past the green box wondering what goes on inside. They probably wonder about the jobs that take place inside. Each day, I'm sure many of their parents and their grandparents and their guardians wish they could hit the jackpot and all their problems would magically fade away. It's very sad to see the city of Newport so desperate for the quick cash being dangled in the face by the developers. But I certainly understand it. I'm sure Newport's teachers also are torn. They no doubt want to prepare their students for a really solid career, but they also know that the city and the school system desperately needs the cash. I'm here this evening asking each of you, and collectively as a body, to make local economic development driven by what I term thinking power, one of your personal priorities in the next year. Make it part of the school system strategic plan, which I understand is being retooled. Push your union leaders to step up and be part of the solution behind Think Power. Push your fellow city councilors also to make it a priority. This creates a unique opportunity for you. Make it a year-round, high-growth, smart jobs part of the city's updated strategic plan. Tell the city that their current one-page strategic plan is terribly weak. If you look at Venice, Florida city manager is Ed LaValle. 13 pages, magnificent plan. We have a pathetic one-page strategic plan. It gets a grade in my book of D-. But you have a strategic opportunity to be a real vital part, a driving part of that city solution. Let's all start talking about let's move beyond simply talking about improving access and opportunities. We need results. Let's move beyond the usual Newport fun blame game and the regular references to those people as being any less capable, any less worthy, important, valued than everyone else. Let's start talking about delivering academic successes. Of course, we should be able to talk plainly and openly about the school's strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. Let's tap the collective wisdom and energy that we know is sitting outside this room. Here are two concrete things that you can do in the next few weeks to help the city drive a better economic development agenda. And here's your role. support the school system's expected participation in a national program that's been sponsored by the Air Force Association, underwritten by Northrop Grumman, and many of the federal contractors I worked with in IBM, called Cyber Patriot. It's an annual cybersecurity competition that was brought to this island last year by Middletown's Chris Eminelli and supported heavily by their IT director, Matt Wainwright. Middletown's going to be competing again this year. I'd like to see Newport field not just a Viking team at this high school, but also the Army Junior ROTC program has an opportunity to field their own team. But what is really unique and could really differentiate the school system across the United States is the ability to field for the first time ever a middle school team. And that's what I have as my personal focus. Working with Jamie Crowley, trying to find a coach. We need a teacher coach. We need teachers that put skin in the game. Mike Cullen is registered as a technical mentor, but I'm not going to be a coach because I really want school system skin in the game on this one. Okay, let me break from the comments. This morning, I attended a Roger Williams statewide event hosted by Rhode Island State Police. They're the go-to organization for Cyber Patriot across Rhode Island. Sitting alongside me was a rep from Tiverton School, Middletown School, Wheeler, and a whole bunch of guys from Rhode Island National Guard. Met School was there as well. It was made really, really clear from some of the commercial people attending the room, there's an opportunity over the next 3 years for graduates of Rogers High School who go on to just a 2-year program at CCRI to get one of 2,000 cybersecurity jobs that are waiting to be established in this state. But the contractor simply can't get the Rhode Island talent that has the background in it. But you have the talent inside NACTech in the AOIT program that could potentially be expanded. So let me just sum up here. You can sign up and also attend the Defense Innovation Days event being held at the Newport Marriott, September 3, 4, 5, sponsored by Synedia, which is the Southeastern New England Defense Industry Alliance. Molly McGee on the Portsmouth Town Council is their executive director. A key topic of that conference is building local careers around what they call the maritime cybersecurity field. Of course, building local jobs needs to start with the public school system and a city council that's in sync with the requirements. So let's hit the books and let's get in sync. By the way, at this 3-day conference, the entire Rhode Island federal delegation has confirmed their attendance. They've invited the Secretary of Defense, who has his hands full right now across the world, but one of his key cyber and acquisition officials is going to be there. It's going to be a very big event. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Can you do us a favor? Do you have anything in writing? I do better if I have something I can really...
Sure, I'll put some stuff in writing, and there's some really exciting YouTube videos, 4-minute, 5-minute videos on Cyber Patriot. They're just really powerful, and they feature the Los Angeles Unified School System. So it really shows a diverse student base. It's not just IT geeks going into this broad spectrum.
Do you have information for the registration for the conference in September?
I'll send you the link.
Okay.
Synedia set up a site just called Defense Innovation Days. If you do a Google search for Defense Innovation Newport, it pops up. I'm sure they'd be delighted to have members of the school committee as well as city council there.
Okay.
Defense
Thank
Innovation
you.
Days. Yeah, thank you.
Item 3 on the agenda is resolutions and certificates. There did not appear to be any at this time. Student activities, school is now not in session. Consent calendar.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I do have one request. We have a recall that I'd like to be pulled for this evening,
Boy, let's hold that separately. Okay.
okay?
Is that under
I
personnel?
know, that's, I want removed from the agenda.
Oh, I see. Oh, you want it
Okay.
removed. All right, let me show me exactly what one you
It's
want.
under personnel.
Under personnel review.
Which one?
You have another one from you? This one right here. This
We have a consent calendar. Is there a motion for the approval of the consent calendar?
Mr. Chairman, I want to pull a few of these things too.
Yes.
I'd like to pull the appointments for a separate vote and the transfer, both transfers.
Okay, so we'll hold those appointment transfers, okay? How about approval of the minutes and request for home instruction?
I
aid?
would move the consent agenda, except for that which has been removed for discussion.
All further discussion on the consent calendar, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let's go back to personnel action. The first one is the appointments. Mr.
No,
Leary.
first we have Mr.
Leary, right?
Leary.
Appointments?
No, it's like the appointments. Yeah. So if the superintendent could explain the appointments to the public, number one, and then, actually you need it first and a second, on the correct way to do that.
We did.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, yes, there are two appointments on tonight's agenda. One is for an elementary curriculum and operations coordinator, and the second one is for assistant principal at Pell School.
I
The-
move appointment recommendations.
Second.
Any discussion on those items, those two items?
Mr.
Yes.
Good,
Mr.
good,
Leary.
Ms. Bowman.
My first one is, were those going to be also leave of absence?
Both positions are 1 year only, and if you remember back in June, I shared with the committee, I shared with the public, and I also met with parent groups, the teaching staff, and we had a discussion about the reorganization of Pell School. Pell School, as you know, is the new elementary school, houses all our elementary students presently from PK through fourth grade, has over 800, almost 900 students, and at that point in time, two principals were assigned originally to this building. After spending, since my tenure began in January, almost every day at Pell School, and watching the operations and watching the student activities, the foot traffic, people traffic, and most importantly of all, the security as far as addressing, knowing where all our students are, all our little ones, PK through 4. I came back to the school, and actually I came back to the committee first, did not renew a contract, and offered a new restructure of the Pell Elementary School that, in my opinion, would better fit the needs and the safety of the students at the school. Both those positions, as I spoke to the committee, as I spoke to the parent groups, and as I spoke to the teachers, I felt it was important that they be internal people that are part of the Pell Elementary School, that know the building, own the building, and want the building to be successful. I also felt it was important from a teaching perspective and from a teacher's perspective to be able to offer alternative pathways for our teachers to see if they would like to take on a leadership role and go into administration. In most cases, when one becomes a principal or an assistant principal or anything like that, a lot of people jokingly call it going over to the dark side. And you don't have an opportunity to go back into the classroom if one wishes to. This I want to afford the teaching staff, and I want to offer teachers the opportunity to grow and build their capacity. And at the same time, stay as a member of the Newport school community. So that is, both positions are both candidates are internal candidates. It will be 1 year only. You'll notice further down in the consent agenda, both have requested 1 year's leave of absence, and I am supporting their requests. And both positions will help to ensure to continue and increase better efficiency as far as the operations of the school, the safety of the student personnel, and even more to this will help us implement the school improvement plans that we have for Pell for student achievement. So that is, these appointments tonight are realization of the plan that was presented back in June.
So I'll assume that that's a motion. Is there a second to that?
We already made a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to-
First,
I'd like to say
further
something.
comments on this, those two? Yes.
I have a comment.
Mrs. Gaines?
I would just congratulate the superintendent on the choices that she made for these positions. These are teachers with excellent reputations, and they're great teachers. Great teachers.
Mr. Phelan?
My objection to these two positions is not the individuals. It never was, and never will be. My concern is, for one, when the school bond was pushed and passed, we were supposed to have two principals, one for the upper and one for the lower, to make smaller schools. Now we're going to have one principal and one vice principal. At least before, there was a division between the two. Now, it's going to be one big school. I just don't know how that would work. But the other thing is, when it was posted, we had one internal application, 44 external. There was only one interview, and that was the internal. I have a problem with that. We should be looking at inside and outside. And we should have, previously, the superintendent would interview more than one person, and if possible, and then make the decision of who they would want. You know, after the screening committee would come up with a certain size, the superintendent would do the next step. For one, it was, like I said, 44 external, and for the other one, there was one internal application and 19 external applications, and one was interviewed. Now, those people that were external applications, they wasted their time filling out this paperwork. For whatever reason, there was a mistake putting it out, and it should have been only internal, maybe. But what does that say in the future of anyone applying for a job in Newport? You know, like I said, it's not the individuals. They might have been the best people, but I can't tell because I saw what the other people, what was on their applications or anything of that nature. We just locked them out. And like I said, I think we promised the people that it would be two schools. I wasn't for it, but that's how it was sold, which is, so be it. But it was sold that way. So anyone that voted for it, that's what they expected. And now we're changing the whole concept.
May I?
Yes.
I just want to remind Mr. Phelan and the committee, when this structure was presented to the school committee, it was presented for internal candidates, and that the goal was to have internal candidates. Having external candidates apply, I don't know if people, took extra effort. We do submit on School Spring, and often when electronically you're notified a position is open, you can electronically apply for it. But also, if we did not have internal candidates interested, then we needed to move quickly and we needed to move forward. So we knew that we had external candidates if needed. I'm happy that we had internal candidates go for the position and want to be invested in the schools. But that, I just want to explain, there was some thinking on that as well.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I was one of the people who pushed hard to get Pell built because I felt that, Pell was going to do a lot for Newport, and I think it will do a lot for Newport. Whenever you create something, you hope that everything you've put together is going to work out the way you want it to. But, obviously once you do something, then you find out that there's things you need to adjust. I think that Newport's been in a rather unique situation with a new superintendent coming in who's actually spent probably more time in that school than any superintendent in the state has ever spent in any of their schools. So she's had a first-hand look at the operation of that school. That school has almost 900 kids in it. They're very young kids. which means that that the younger kids need a lot of supervision. When you get to middle school and high school, it's a little bit different story. Not that they don't need supervision, but the really young kids need a lot of supervision. And so I think that, when you send somebody in there with the qualifications that our superintendent has, and they spend the kind of time they spend in that school, and at the end of the day, their recommendation is that these are the things we need to do, not only for efficiency, but for safety in that building, I think that we should be following those recommendations. I don't think anybody wants to be sitting here on the school committee and not follow those kind of recommendations to have something happen to a child out there. So, I am 100% behind, whatever things we need to do to make that school run. Clearly, if we talked about how many positions we could save out there, and I think we've tried to save as many as we can, but if there are things that need to be adjusted out there to make that school run the way it needs to run, hindsight's 20/20. But, I'm going to support it.
Mr. Chairman?
Dr. Flowers?
It looks to me as though we still have a lower school and an upper school. Just the configuration of the buildings, you have the teachers of the lower school concentrated in one area, same thing for the upper school. If you look at the professions, the work that these two individuals, one is really from the lower school and one is from the upper school, so that takes care of that problem, as I can see it. And having taught in the Newport system for 30 years, I think it's quite refreshing to see that there are opportunities for people to move from within. And that we, the fact that you had external applicants probably says a lot about our system, that some people want to come here. But I think to be giving the opportunity to our people right here in the system, and each one of them really has quite a good, wonderful resumes here. I think this will be good. I think having it as a one-year setup for the time being, if it works, you just move forward. But as you were saying, we had to move quickly on this, and then, of course, you have your principal there anyway. So I'm looking forward to even better things this year. And last year was certainly, for the shakedown cruise for this school, it went very well. So I think there's some good choices here.
I just wanted to say it's refreshing as well to see a teacher move, not according to the Peter principle,
Yeah.
but because she's darn well qualified to
Yeah.
do the job.
Yeah.
Mr. Bailey?
It's not just the qualifications. The point is, you want the best person. So without looking at the external, we really don't know. We could have found someone that was better. I'm not saying we could have, but then we didn't give it a chance. And for safety, the school, I think we would be better off with two individuals in charge of each side, of one at each side, so that they would know the students. Now, it just in the sense that we're making one leader and then one sub-leader, but where does that go? And,
No, you have
before
three.
there was a stink. The kids would know that's my principal, and the other school would know that's my principal. And we make the field differently than this humongous school that we have.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. On the old 5.2, we didn't have that. So my question is to the superintendent. These are 1 year only, period.
That is correct, and they've always been intended that way, yes.
Okay, it wasn't in the original 5.2. I had a lot of comments and concerns, but 1 year I don't have concern for.
Mhm.
It's in now,
Right.
If you look in the old 4.2, it was not 1 year listed.
Correct,
Yeah.
and, I'm, well, I just heard a comment, it's in the contract, but it's also that in the restructure, that was always the plan, and I think it would have been better if I had reminded everyone and showed the plan from the get-go. That would have helped a lot, so I agree with you on that.
Seeing no others, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I just want to comment. I do a lot of calling of the superintendent. And I'm an early person, tend to want to call her. And she's
6:30
always,
in the morning.
well, not quite that early, but anyhow. She is usually at Pell. She has spent most of her mornings since she has been on the staff here. And what has she been doing? One is meeting all the kids, and she has also played cop out there and making sure that the traffic's been taken care of, and she's been an extremely strong mentor for others to follow. And we're very lucky to have her, and thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, what's the other one we have to do on?
The transfer,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
so could she explain each one?
Yes. Presently, we have two teachers. One is presently already on .6 FTE. This person has applied and would like to go to another position that is a full-time. This position is in the budget, and going forward, if it has budget implications, then this position, instead of being full-time ALP, can be converted to .6.4. The other position is a new STEM specialist position. This is a teaching position that we have in our budget, and in lieu of having the math, if you remember the math in part of the reorg, the math position, we eliminated those math specialists, and we now have STEM specialists in the building, and they will be reaching all classrooms.
So can you explain the STEM program in depth? I'm not sure how, well, give me the Cliff Notes version. How's that sound?
Okay. All right. The STEM specialist is to help enrich our students about the importance using science, technology, math, and there's a little bit of engineering for some of our students in grade 4. This program will help connect the dots and put forward application to what they're learning in the classroom and how it relates to the real world. That's the very basic Cliff Notes. In doing that, there's reasoning to believe that this will help enhance their math skills, help them to better understand science, and again, seeing what they're learning in the classroom or putting some meaning behind what they're learning in the classroom to bring to real world opportunities. So at the elementary level, it's the awakening. And then we have plans, and at this time I will thank Mr. Cullen for bringing up today the Cyber Patriot. He has reached out to the school department on it. Teaching and Learning is working on it, and we are trying to move forward to enhance some of the initiatives that have already taken place at Thompson Middle School and build up that program so that when students do arrive at Rogers, and we're starting it this year, as far as opening more opportunities in the Academy of Information Technology, etc. So it's an awakening. I'm being very basic and broad. Do you want me to go more into that?
No, I just don't know how weak the program is this time. If it's something just kind of doing, it's not too good, I'm not sure I should be supporting it,
Well, part of how we're going to be measuring it is there's going to be multiple ways we're going to measure it, but part of our school improvement plan in increasing student achievement is in the area of math. So we are still using assessment data in the math area and hoping that this will show some improvements going forward.
I'll accept the fact that he withdrew it from the consent calendar as a motion. Is there a second to these transfers? Just for technical reasons.
Second?
A second.
Okay. Yes,
I still,
all right.
Okay.
Ms. Moulton?
okay, so on here, I remember when reading that it was not just a STEM specialist, but doesn't it include, they're going to be doing some remediation or not anymore?
No, they
They'll be
will.
doing intervention?
They will be. It's twofold. One, all-inclusive for all students as far as the connections between science, technology,
But the
the math.
intervention piece is.
There is an intervention, we actually have intervention blocks that are
And they're
being
gonna be
created
doing the intervention blocks?
at Pell.
Is that correct, the intervention blocks?
Correct.
Okay, because I just.
That's part of our school improvement plan.
I've, from the from the first, I've had a problem with,
Dave, we can hear you.
so I've had a problem just that, you know, that we do a lot of intervention for reading in our district, and I don't want to see the intervention, you know, disappearing for
No.
our kids at the bottom. So I just would like that to reflect STEM specialist, you know, and intervention, like what the full job is on that one.
Right. And I don't have the
There probably just wasn't enough room on
The-
the line, but,
job description in front of me.
right.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Thorne?
So these STEM specialists, they're taking the place of the math teachers that we had previously.
Correct.
So there's no effect in the budget, because that's what my concern is.
Correct.
That I think our budget is out of whack, and I don't want to
No impact.
add anything that we don't have now.
Nope, no impact.
And then the science teacher, once school starts, she has to stay at 1.0 no matter what.
Right, but that wouldn't have an impact.
It's minimal. Because there's a lot of benefits in it.
Seeing no other hands, I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor? Of these
This-
transfers?
On
On the
every, the whole thing?
transfers.
Just
Yep.
transfers.
Oh,
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
One person against it. Okay.
Okay.
And we've approved the consent calendar otherwise. So we'll move on to,
We didn't do resignations.
what's that?
Resignations.
Resignations.
It wasn't distracted?
It wasn't pulled.
It wasn't pulled.
Oh.
That wasn't pulled, you're right.
So we move on to item 6, action items, bid award, computer tables. Somebody want to fill us in?
I'm sorry.
6.1.
Computer tables for Thompson, oh, Rogers.
All right. This recommendation comes from our Director of Services and Business Manager. 4 bids were received to provide computer tables for the Rogers High School Library. And there's a recommendation, the company be awarded, WB Mason Company be awarded the bid as the low bidder.
So move.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Could the
Yeah, excuse me.
mayor debating come up and explain to us what the tables are, what, anything about like that? Give them some FaceTime to begin with?
Computer tables.
Who's
You
asking?
want,
Does
you
he
want to
do-
know what the computer tables are? It's Miss Tracy.
Well, oh, you do them, okay.
Okay.
So Tracy, why don't you, I got a couple questions for you.
He wants you on camera.
I thought it was up, maybe it's.
These computer tables are purchased through the Perkins grant.
Okay, that's my first question, the money. And second question, we have nothing in the system they could use.
No,
Okay, just want to make sure the time back. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I-Board National Public Purchasing Corporate authorization to participate.
Again, this is a recommendation from the Director of Administration Service Business Manager, Joan Tracy. Cooperative purchasing agreements allow the school system to purchase products at reduced costs due to the ability to leverage better pricing agreements due to volume and numbers. She recommends approving the Newport Schools' participation in the online buy-board cooperative agreement. The program is specifically targeted to school departments, and there is no cost for the membership to participate.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I just wanted to make one comment. You
Yes.
went too fast.
Oh, I went too fast, sorry.
Yeah, I think that this might be another opportunity for cooperation with the city.
Yes.
Because by our being a partner in this buy board, it allows the city to also make use of it in their purchases.
Item 6.3 is the policy number 5370, academic eligibility for participation in extracurricular activities. request to suspend. None of these. So you, or is it Sam?
It's me.
What, did you
I've
want
made
to-
the request. At this point in time, the policy subcommittee is getting together this month to review several policies. There are some time-sensitive policies at this point in time. I'm just asking that they be suspended. The first one is 5370, academic eligibility for participation in extracurricular activities. I'm asking as superintendent of schools to suspend this policy at this point in time so that all students arriving at Rogers High School will have equal access and ability to participate in extracurricular activities, and our fall sports. I would like us to sit down and review this policy and try to encourage our students to participate in more after-school programs and sports. That is one of the goals for this year.
I move the recommendation.
Second.
I have a question. Why would certain people not be eligible?
The policy right now, if something has occurred while they were in only our middle school, whether it be academic or some other reason, those students would be ineligible when they arrived at Rogers High School as freshmen.
I never liked that.
This discriminates against just our students from Thompson. So students can come from any other middle school, whether it's here or somewhere else. And they could have very similar situations or worse, and they would be eligible, and our own children in Newport would not be. So I would like this to be reconsidered.
Charlie?
So there's two items. Yes, Ms.
Oh, I just want to speak on it. Okay,
Let's
I-
take both of them together.
Together?
Yeah, right, okay, at one time, a long time ago, I had very strong feelings about that we wanted really tight, hardcore, academic eligibility policy. Well, as it turns out, we have the toughest one in the state, academic eligibility, and I was pretty proud of that. But then I realized what it was doing to our students. And I'm not saying that, I don't want to loosen this up to the point where any child can play any sport, there's no repercussions. But what it was doing at the 8th grade level is, if we don't engage those students when they first get here, we're going to lose them. You have to find a group, find something. I know that we're going to be really working with all the students this year in the 9th grade. Part of their orientation is to find a group, find something you're interested in. And this policy coming from the middle school, it was absolutely counterproductive. And if you don't get a kid playing a sport in their freshman year, the chances of them starting their sophomore year are, nil. The same thing with the band. How do you get them, if they don't play their freshman year, they're not going to play, chances are, their sophomore year. So we have to really engage our students. We got to connect them to an adult, and I feel strongly that, I wish we had gotten this policy together. I think they've actually come up with a recommended policy that might work. It's adapted from from RIIL, the policy comes from, and it's just going to make it so that some of our kids, all of our kids can play. And I know we changed it last year, if you'll remember, but we put a caveat on it that the kids, when they came, had to have attended the summer school program. They're still absolutely encouraged, but there were still some kids who had to work last summer, that helped the family out, and were not able to attend that program, and so they were made ineligible. So I'm going to support this tonight. I don't usually.
I'm going to ask for a motion to suspend both of these policies.
We did.
We
did
we
move.
can amend the motion.
Oh,
Just wanna
do both?
suspend.
We can
I'm not-
amend the
I'm not
motion.
moving the
Yeah.
motion other than to suspend. I just wanted to get clear as to what we're doing. We're just suspending
policy.
the policy, we two of them together.
Okay.
Okay, further discussion, Mrs. Gaines?
I just wanted to say, it's not just the sports
Yeah, it's not.
that suffer. I mean, it's all extracurricular activities. And that's extremely punitive. And I agree with Becky, we don't need to be so punitive that we actually hurt children. That's not why we're here.
Sandra.
I'm sorry, I'll take Dr. Flowers first, Bob.
Yeah, I'm talking about this.
No, I want this to be clarified, though. Once they come here to Rogers, all of the procedure has to be followed. I mean, they have to, be working to the best of their ability and that sort of thing. But it's just that too often they've hit that stone wall, so to speak, finishing up in the 8th grade, and something could have happened that may well have been beyond the control of some of the youngsters themselves. And again, some could not, for good reasons, could not take part
Sounds like you've got a big job to do to
in the summer
rewrite
school program. But I think what
Yeah, we can do
really, I think when you mention how something similar could have happened to some young people from beyond our system, and they come in, and they're a little more equal than some of ours that shouldn't be. So,
So you got
I think we should-
got yourself a big job.
we should okay this, and
Yeah, Mr. Lear.
So, I won't be supporting this, not because of the policies, because my problem here is that when I first got on this committee, we used to have a rule that if you're going to suspend the rules of policy, you had to have 2/3 majority vote. And somehow, it changed to a simple majority vote. And I would like to know how I can go back to the policy manual to make, if we're going to suspend the rules on a policy, that you have to have a 2/3 majority vote, and not a simple majority. So, can you have that with your policy committee, that you bring it back up? If you want to vote it down again, but somehow it was changed. Now, I don't remember when or how, but when I first got on the committee, you had to have a 2/3 majority vote.
How do you know we aren't going to have 2/3?
Oh, you have, but I vote against other things in the past. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will.
Let's have a vote and get rid of it.
Just one.
Yes.
I do have a problem suspending policy.
Yeah.
I think we take our time to make a policy, but then we can get rid of it that night.
Yep.
And I just find it's too simple. When I first got on, I thought we couldn't change the policy. It would be a long, drawn-out process. That's what it was made known. All of a sudden, for some reason, something happened, and bingo, they changed it. And going, they've been on here for years and didn't know
Dr.
and what
Flower,
to do.
what's the answer to
And
that,
so,
Flower?
That's- do you have the,
better planning is what I would think we should do.
Some of you know, I've been cleaning out my basement and throwing away paper for the last month.
The truck's in front of
And
the house
I
ready.
found this guide to policy development. I brought it for Sandra, but I'm going to give it to the superintendent and have copies made for all members of the school committee. Read it, please.
Sandra, Dr. Flowers, what's your verdict as far as suspending policy?
It's, you can just majority vote.
Is that what it is now?
Right now, yeah, it's in the policy right now.
well,
Chairman?
4 out of 7.
Yes.
So, yeah, I agree with what Mrs. Boland said. I mean, I think that, we've got kids coming from other places. We need to have a level playing field for these kids. But the other part of it is, we make policies, like we make decisions on personnel, like we make decisions on everything else.
This is-
We do those things, and if they don't work, then you change them.
Change 'em.
It's a living
So,
document.
if we
Yeah.
see blatantly that there's going to be a group of kids coming into school in the next 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to be penalized because we've got a policy that needs to be changed, why are you going to make the kids pay for it when you say, oh, we suspend policies? Yeah, we're going to suspend a policy and rework it and bring it back. We're not getting rid of the policy. We're just suspending it for this moment in time so we don't damage some kids coming in. We're in the kid business. We get so caught up in the bureaucracy of the paperwork and the money. We spend a lot of time on the money, the dollars. We all know that. We forget who we're here for. We're here for the kids. So, we're suspending something tonight because it's beneficial to the kids, not because we're trying to go around something. I'm more than happy if the committee wants to have 2/3 of a vote and that's their will, that's fine. And if the committee wants to have a policy that says, we have to have 2 meetings to suspend a policy, that's fine. But right now, we don't have that, and we've got schools going to open soon, and some kids are going to get hurt by this. I say suspend the policy.
Other comments? Let's bring us to a vote then. All those in favor of suspending the policies, 2 policies?
Aye.
Please say
Aye.
Aye.
It's one at a time, Dr. Schmidt, they're 2 different policies.
No, you put them together.
This is-
You put them together.
He put them together.
Well, wait a minute. The other one has
Yeah.
nothing to do with
I don't know that one has to
The
do with
other
the
one-
other.
You put them
No,
together,
no.
Charlie, you put them
Since
together.
we-
He put them
Are you
together.
putting them both together?
He did.
The,
He did.
we didn't
Also,
discuss.
all in favor of the merged,
Excuse me, I'd like to hear what that other policy
Yeah.
is. before I
Number
vote on that.
6,500.
gave an explanation.
No, the other one has to do
No,
with,
the second
has to do with graduation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
The requirements for graduation have changed as of June 2014, so I am asking that those requirements be suspended. Right now, the ones we have now are outdated, and we need to focus in on what we want as a school district to ensure our students graduate proficiently and with the needed credits, work experience, or I'll just say achievements they need. So I think we have to do a lot of revamping on this.
Second, I move the,
Comment
But,
on this one.
so,
that's it.
yeah, so I guess my question on that
It
one
doesn't
is,
comply.
my question on that one is, do we need to do that tonight on that particular policy? I understand the first one because we've got kids coming through the door that won't be able to do certain things. This is graduation. Is this something that can be done in the next couple of months?
It will have to, because we have ninth graders coming in, and they have
They
to be
have to know
really
now.
clear what
Yeah.
they're going to need to graduate. So we have
All
to
right, so you're
do
going to
it.
put that
Yeah.
in place and pull the other stuff out because of that? I guess my question is that as time-sensitive as the other one that we're working on?
I say yes,
Yeah,
because we need to
getting
inform
ready, yeah.
families
Yeah.
and students. They're going to
Okay.
start,
Yeah.
they're doing their course selections, and they need to be prepared going forward,
Right.
whatever. And I think as a committee, I'm just going to prepare you for this. I think as a committee, we need to have a discussion about whether all our students should have a certificate and a diploma when they leave Rogers High School. And do we want to phase that in? And if we're going to phase it in, we need to have the discussions now for the kids that are coming in now.
rather than later.
Mrs. Bowl?
Yeah.
My question is, how would this affect seniors? So is it going to, we're not going to change something on them between now?
No.
This is for incoming freshmen?
It's for the, well, let me be clear. There's no longer a kneecap requirement.
Right.
So that impacts the seniors immediately. So we have to set up a system where we clearly inform parents of what the requirements are to graduate from Rogers High School. I do not think at this point in time you can add additional requirements.
Right.
I think if anything, we just have to inform them of what they need now. But we may want to look at what juniors and sophomores do. So it is something we do need to address quickly.
Dr. Flowers?
If we can suspend this policy, and it can be
We
edited, modified,
We worked.
yeah, we'll do that. So this gives now the freedom to move forward with the young people who are coming into the high school now. In the interim, when we convene the policy subcommittee, and I think, I'm feeling, and that this is probably part of the discussion, I should bring it up later, but that we can get input from other people too.
We have
on it,
to,
yeah.
yeah.
So this doesn't tie our
All in
hands.
favor of
Yeah.
suspending these two policies? Please
Aye.
say
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6.5 is Early Learning Center, JFK School Building, question of a lease.
Okay. So, I was hoping this evening I would have a lease to present in front of you. At this point in time, as late as 5 o'clock this evening, we still have some matters to discuss regarding the Newport School Department's payment and exposure for rent. As you know, we had other partners, and other partners are involved as far as joining the Early Learning Center building with us. At this point in time, in order for them to move forward, they need specific license approvals and inspections done. Middletown is still working on this, and until I have received some guarantees that our partners' licenses and the inspections will be done in a timely fashion, I cannot recommend that we sign the lease at this point in time. I am clearly aware of the date today, our August 12th, and our facilities director and his team are well prepared. Our teachers are prepared as far as the boxing. And I have today requested that I meet with the Middletown Council, if necessary, to have further discussions regarding the lease. So that's the update I have as of this moment. I do so I am aware we need to have an auxiliary plan B, and that is being developed, and we are still very hopeful, and we want to move forward with the Early Learning Center at JFK. So I'm going to remain optimistic as of today.
That takes note, actions required, we go to 6.6, Pell School project, request for additional services.
Okay, you have in front of you this evening, I'm going to flip my paper. You have a letter from HMFH written to me, addressing and restating some of the conversations and comments we have had as far as some improvements and some work we still need to have done at Pell School. The invoice is in front of you right now. It is for $3,572 and has been approved, and you have, and was reviewed by our facilities person and Jim Farrar. And I did, and Mrs. Gaines, please correct me if I do not get this right, I believe I did keep you in the loop and informed on this, all right. These requests are now before you, before moving forward.
I move we pay the bill.
Second.
Service was provided.
Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I am dead set against this. I can't, you even say, I understand the sensitivity requesting additional services after the fact. After the fact, they're asking for more money.
No, after the fact, we asked for more services.
They're not asking for more money? We asked
They're
for services?
asking to be paid for the additional services that we requested.
And we did not approve that before?
Yes, we asked for the services.
And we did, we asked for services?
Yes.
Yeah, we did a payment.
Now
So-
they're asking to be paid for.
Huh?
Now they're asking to be paid for
I
what
didn't
we
know.
asked them to do.
So, is it 5,800 or is it 3,572? Either way, I'm not voting for it.
It's 3,572.
Okay, because the 58 is a professional service on the second, last page.
Right.
No, what they sent us was, they have a total of everything they've done. They marked off the ones that were related to this particular project.
So
Total
who
project.
asked these people to get involved every time, like the rooftop failed unit, things like that, they ask for more money? Or don't we have to call them up every time we do something? Every time we call them up, they want $155 an hour?
We had, our facilities director is here, but we did have some problems with the roof and the roof fan, if I remember correctly. And may I ask, Mr.
Absolutely.
Collins? Mr. Collins, could you come? Thank you.
So in regards to rooftop unit number 3, at some point during the year, we installed the wrong filters in that unit. The filters got sucked into the fan, it dislodged the motor, and it chewed up the whole fan housing, which shut down that unit. So at this point, we're left to deal with that. That's the whole seaside now that does not have a HVAC system running in it. So that's in regards to that.
So
So
that was not factory.
No, it was our fault.
So why are we having the architect view that, not if we knew that, and paying them X amount of dollars for that?
My take is, I don't think that much damage could have been caused by the filters. We really have no leg to stand on, because at that time, I'm not sure why, but the wrong filters were installed. They got sucked in, and that was obvious by looking in the unit. It's now up to us to repair that. So to do that, we need some services to provide guidance in that. We had people design that. That wasn't part of their original scope to go back and redesign something because we put wrong filters in and they got sucked through. So that's what we're paying for the services with that. Also with that, there's a quote that came in to repair that, and I'm reviewing that now and actually getting some prices to make sure that that's a legitimate price as far as the repair work. So that's in regards to that, the rooftop unit.
When-
Yes.
Is it, I mean, that'd be difficult to start the school year without that, because that's what
No,
the system.
I fully realize that.
Is there a chance that we're gonna get it done before school starts?
No, we're gonna have to get it done. I guess what my problem is I'm looking at the cost that the contractor's submitting, and I think it's too much. So I either just say, hey, whatever, or I do some due diligence and check the numbers. So that's what we're doing now. We're in the process of doing that, but I fully understand it needs to be running.
So are you saying then that they want to get paid now, so what we see here is
Well,
still up for...
there's a bunch of items there. I don't think that's just solely in relation to that rooftop unit.
This is work that's already been done.
Yeah.
It's been done, we owe money, I guess.
It's pretty much outlined on there. What
It
they've
is.
done, the hours associated with it, the number that they're charging per hour. I reviewed it. The numbers they're charging are, they're fair rates for what they get. Whether you think it's a lot or not, that's the going rate for that.
Okay, it's been moved for approval.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think that if we put it in perspective, we've got a $30 million building out there. This is $3,000. Things happen. I mean, if you do renovations to your house, if you do anything extensive, you know that whatever they tell you, it's going to be 10% more, because something's going to go wrong. They're going to find something in your ceiling or something in your floor, or there's no wiring that has to be, I think that HMF has had an outstanding record with us. They've done a great job. They got us back in line with the budget, along with Jim Farrar, and they got the job done. I mean, I appreciate looking at money like everybody else does, but I think in this particular situation, I've never found them to be a company that's looking out there to spend money. And one of the things that you have to appreciate about great architects is when they draw really good plans, then the builders don't have a lot of problems bidding it out, and there's not a lot of change orders. When you have people who are not good at drawing, and we've had that in Newport in a couple of the larger buildings, not in the school department, then there's a lot of change orders involved, and you get a lot of overrun in the costs. Fortunately, we have very good architects, and we've had very good people involved in this project, and we have not had that problem. But sometimes you think, well, if I'm going to get somebody to draw me whatever, and if they're not really good at that, and you save money on that end, and then when you get into the building process, your builder is going to say, those are the wrong beams, those are the wrong windows, it's the wrong wiring, this isn't in the right place, and all of a sudden you've got all these extra costs, and we haven't had that with HMFH, so I think we have to recognize that.
Dr. Flower?
Is this coming out of the money, it's the dedicated account? Okay.
So, just a follow-up question. Again, Mrs. Jermaine, it's not $5,800 was listed on detailed list here, it's $3,500.
My understanding, it is $3,572. Mr. Collins, do I have that correct? Yes.
Where's the $5,800 for? We got paper listing all the detailed amount of money, it says $5,800. It has his name right next to it, professional services, $5,800. Or is it $3,500? So make sure, how am I gonna verify the check should be written for $3,500, not
We'll just
$5,800?
specify- we'll just
Professional
specify in our
The-
minutes.
Because
All right,
the,
specify the minutes, thank you. That's right, Mr.
It'll be
Chairman.
in our minutes, okay?
Specify, yep.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Of $3,500, $3,572, not $5,860.
Where are you seeing the $3,000?
The last
the invoice.
That's one page.
Oh,
Last
this
page,
is-
it
oh,
shows
the
you,
last
it gives you detailed list of what they're
little
spending.
boxes, okay,
It
yeah.
says $5,800.
So you got that
Okay.
when you put the amount in? Okay. All in favor of it, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right.
Opposed? I wouldn't pay him 1 cent.
Just Mr. Leary.
6.7, modification of the budget we passed last month.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to adjust expenditures by the amount of $345,000 and to direct the superintendent to make recommendations to adjust items accordingly in the 2014-2015 budget.
Second the motion. I second it.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
I'm going to vote against that motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm voting for it, but there are a lot of other things I wish we could have included, make changes, because I do think we're gonna be over budget, and I think we're just putting our heads in the sand.
So let's stick to this motion, which is to extend it, add more money to the budget by increasing expenditures. All in favor then?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Does that take care of everybody's motion?
Yes.
Reports,
We'll go to discussion items, strategic plan update.
Okay, before you right now is the draft of the tool we'd like to use, and the "we" is the administrative staff and my office, as far as providing a chart for you that identifies whether we're on track, we're delayed, or we have barriers in order to achieve some of the goals, actually all the goals you have set for the 2014-15 school year. The color coding will begin in September, so you'll have a visual of where we are in the implementation and whether we're on target. The staff and I are open to any suggestions, or if you want to add anything, just, you can email me, we can talk about it, but we did want to provide some kind of visual chart that we can have. We'll actually post it so that the public can see it as well.
Mrs. Gaines?
I don't know if I've had a memory lapse or something, but I could not figure out what SBC is.
Are you under NACTAC?
Under NACTAC.
School-based coordinator.
Ah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
When you, there's no timeline here. And the
Just a month.
school-based coordinator is someone I'd like to see on board as soon as school opens. What is your timeline for hiring this person?
I believe the interviews are Friday of
Oh.
this week. There has been a posting. If the committee recalls, back in the spring, we did go out for this. We did have some very good candidates. Unfortunately, we were not able to meet the salary requirements of those people, so we decided to come back to the table. We looked at different types of funding sources, and we then reposted the position in collaboration with Middletown, using our Perkins funding, and the interviews should be done, I believe, this week.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
I would like to see us, I mean, I think that went out actually twice last year, to find a school-based coordinators. We went a long time without one. But
Right.
the problem was that, I think from now on, when we send those out, that there needs to be a salary range. Because I think what happened is, people got that we were looking for people with, miracle skills, and, we wanted the world, but then we weren't willing to pay as much. And I think that
Okay.
if we did that in the beginning, we might see that we had a problem before, we got them all the way to the point where we wanted to hire them, and then they looked at that pay and said, I'm not willing to do that job for that amount of money. So I don't know if that's something we
Okay.
could look at as a district to
Sure.
put a job, salary range.
Absolutely. So the posting went out before I
Right.
arrived as well.
But
Okay.
just from here on out, maybe, think about that.
All right.
Okay.
That's a good suggestion. Thank you.
And what about timelines?
Timelines for when they'll be completed?
Yeah.
My understanding is you wanted all of them completed this year. Is that
We're
true?
going to do all of this?
That's what we've been
I think that's
working on.
That's a great goal.
I think the one we really need information for, and I'm turning to look at Mrs. Bowling because we had this discussion today. Our data manager told us we would get the graduation rate,
4 points?
right, but when is the new one? We're supposed to? they
Not
s-
until September,
s-
October.
Right, September or October. So that's the one we kind of have to see. We have specific points we want to be up by, percentage points, but we just don't have the actual one from 2014.
Gotcha.
Okay? So we have a goal from the one that was 2013. We know we want to be a minimum of 4 points up. Then we'll be able to reassess in September, October of how much we want to raise that going forward.
One more question.
Sure.
I didn't see anything in here related to the Common Core.
Common Core.
Are discussions about informing the community about what is expected and what we're doing to implement it.
All right, so we did have one community meeting that was not very well attended. We do not have that here, but I see that as a communications, and we can certainly put that in for September and October to make parents more aware. I do know that on our website, which we are looking to redesign that as well, but I do know on our website we do have mention of it, but I will bring this to teaching and learning.
I would hate to have a repeat of the kneecap fiasco when the testing resumes in 3 years. So I would really like our parents and the community to be prepared.
Okay, so I just need a clarification. So Common Core is about our standards and what we teach to. Are you referring to Park?
Yes.
You want, okay, more information on Park. Okay, thank you. Park is the new assessment that all public schools in Rhode Island will be implementing
In
3 years? 2017? 2017, it will be a high school requirement.
I also had a question.
Yes, Mr. Bowman?
So the ALP, I know there are going to be great things happening in ALP, and that's the alternative learning program for those of you that might not catch that. Can we have a report, maybe maybe on a meeting, soon, just to talk about the ALP program and how it's changing? Like have it part of an agenda item, just so that we can all understand, because there's some big changes, coming.
Yes.
on that path.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
I will say it will probably have to be September or October. I don't think I can have it in 2 weeks. Is that all right? Okay.
I talked to the superintendent about absenteeism. Last fall, we put together with Judge Pedrosian a new plan. And I was interested to see what the data was going to look like. I haven't seen any data. I do know that Kids Count will have that data out, and we will not have had it. I don't know. Did you ever get things done today on it?
Yes, there's a report in your packet
On where?
on the data on absenteeism. It's under the superintendent's updates.
Okay, good. Let's hold it then.
Okay.
So we have to vote on the strategic plan, update their format for presenting the data. I'll take a motion for approval.
So moved.
It's not an action.
It's not an action.
It's a discussion.
Hmm?
It's not an action item.
No, it's just
Oh, I'm
discussion.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so-
No, that's just,
Discussion.
doing it, yeah.
Discussion item.
All right, I'm sorry. Okay, policy subcommittee, Mrs. Dr. Flower?
Yeah, as we mentioned before, the policy subcommittee will be contacting, be Mrs. Gaines, Mrs. Boland, Dr. Hilton, who represents the community. And we'll, be looking at the 2 policies that we voted tonight to suspend, as well as, some other issues, one was safety and then a Title I issue. And, Ms. Donnelly Roach and Dr. Booth have been putting together, they've been, redacting some of the policies, and I've got, Wendy had sent them to me. So that what I will do is to get them to the subcommittees people first. We can look at them, so before we sit down, we will have read them. And I would ask to any members of the full committee, if you have any thoughts, ideas about any kinds of amending or adding or deleting anything on policies, just send it to me. you know how you can do that review where you can cross out and put things in, so that the whole subcommittee will have a chance to look at it first. And then also, when it gets to this level, you will have sufficient time to read it, so you won't be having to look at it the night of the meeting. So I'll be setting up, I'll check, we can coordinate our calendars and have a meeting, hopefully within the next week.
Thank you.
So I would like to make sure that we do that we review the policy of suspending the rules to go to a two-thirds
Yeah,
majority.
okay, yeah. Well, we can propose it, obviously.
Yeah, propose
The
them to vote
committee
on.
has to
Correct.
Mr. Leary,
vote
you
on
that.
it,
want
so.
to skip the next one, or expenditures and review?
No, I don't want to skip that at all. I want her on that seat
Shut
up there. Not skipping that one bit.
Okay, 8.1 is gonna be, is
Come on up, Joan.
We still haven't changed the time
So,
Can we put that down?
let's take a look at your page you gave us, the bottom line in parentheses there.
Yep.
That's the number you look at us, right?
What, I'm
Bottom line,
looking
5
at,
million
year-to-date, we made $5 million,
That you,
and that we will spend it by the end of the year.
okay, so now my question is that when we did our original budget, sorry, take that back. When we did our budget for priority one, we are $2 million in the hole. What is your projection to stop that?
The budget
Don't look at
the
Now,
budget
I'm
amendments,
putting everybody on the hot spot here. With $2 million in the hole, I want to know what's the, if you want, you know what? I'll take that back. I won't put you in the hot spot. I'll ask for a meeting, either the superintendent or the committee or the business manager. I want to know how we're going to address the $2 million we're in the hole, period. I want to know every detail. I sat here before with a prior superintendent years ago with $1.9 million in the hole and asked the business manager, and she kept on asking the superintendent, and in the year, we had $1.9 million in the hole. Nothing was addressed. No, so I, as a person that's fiscally conservative, I want to know how we're going to address that.
Mr. Chair, may I? The Newport School Department has a balanced budget. Recommendations were made, presented to this committee, and a balanced budget has been passed. I understand and hear Mr. Leary's concern that maybe all the recommendations may not be realized. But a budget is a guide going forward. One can never exactly predict what expenditures will be realized or how many snowstorms there will be, or if a building has an emergency, or if we, heaven forbid, have staff that get ill. It is a guide, and it is something that the school department and I am charged to follow. The balanced budget has been approved. Tonight, I was asked to go back on a majority vote, increase, I believe the request was, and then see and make recommendations to balance the budget. The budget is balanced.
So, I would take you to the sheet that you give us. Priority one budget says
the priority
what we
one
needed.
budget was not the budget that was passed.
Priority one budget was not the budget passed?
That was the budget that was passed in May, that was not the budget that was
Correct.
passed.
Priority one budget was not the budget
July
passed?
26th.
So,
No.
$2.9 million was not the budget passed. What was
No,
passed?
do you have the July report in
I
front
have
of you?
July 18th report.
Okay, if you go over to the next, to the,
July 31st.
yeah, it was July 26th or something, I don't remember the date. It had to be
Right.
30 days after the
Correct.
city
We had
council
to
passed
balance
its
the budget.
It is
So, I
actually,
need a
it
meeting
is
with you
actually the
and you,
budget
and
that
everybody
is
else wants to attend. I want-
presented, it's the budget that's presented in this form,
That was passed.
where it says, the first column, approved budget 2014-15 was passed by the school committee on July 26th, I believe was the date.
And then
It is not the
14, 15,
priority one budget.
It's not the priority one budget.
No.
So that $2.9 million is nothing, not.
That's not the
We were
budget
never gonna
we want.
Help me
balance
out
the
here. Did we
2.9
approve a priority one
million.
budget or not? Yes or no?
At the May
Yes or no?
26th
Did we
meeting.
approve a prior one budget? Yes or
At-
no? That will help me out. I'll stop talking if you said no.
Yeah, we did prior.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
No,
We did
no,
prior to going to
clarification's
City Hall.
needed.
Prior to going to City Hall, we put in a budget. This was
Correct.
gonna be our budget that we predicted for the City Hall. They did not, and
Then
they
we came
gave us
back
what
and
they
changed
gave us. Now we had to go back in
Change
30
it.
days, which we did, and balance our budget.
Right.
And that's what
that
we
is-
did.
And that becomes our budget. The budget's based on what the city gave us and our changes in it.
So we never voted on a prior one budget.
Yes,
We did in June.
But
We
that
brought a
was not-
priority one budget to the city council. When the city council gave us what they gave us, we realized that we were not going to be able to do that, so we redid the budget, and it's no longer the priority one budget, it's less than that.
Right.
So now we're going with what budget?
The budget that we presented to City Hall.
The
Okay.
budget that was passed on
That the
July
balanced
26th.
budget.
And if you
So-
if you go into the agenda for that meeting, you can print out the budget that will show you priority one, it will show you the change.
So I would like to have a meeting with you and superintendent, anybody else, sit down ASAP to go through this thing.
Absolutely. It's in the backup tonight. Absolutely.
Yep, I absolutely need that. I'm a little confused now with what,
You
we're
promised you
hiring,
would,
things we're doing.
hush.
I am, I'll get off the hotspot right now. I'll sit down
I'll
first.
call you from Nova Scotia.
That's, oh, yes, good point, good point. Finance
tomorrow.
director has vacation coming.
Well, I guess I'll be tomorrow then. How come
I have a few
Tomorrow's
other
fine.
things to do.
All right.
Tomorrow's fine.
So,
Joan, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Suppose we get into, let's say, November 1, September 30th. Are we on target or not? That's what, I guess, is what we really want to know. Are our expenditures up to that point?
Until school opens school opens on September, and we know how many students show up and how many teachers we actually need, I can't predict if we're on. For the month of July, we were on budget.
September 30th. Can you tell us? We had this problem before, and then we went into, put, our budget used to show encumbered amounts.
It still does.
we hired?
Still does.
Okay,
And over
That's
here,
fine. I'm gonna sit
we're
down
not
again.
over
We'll go through this.
anywhere.
Still have that.
all right.
Any more?
No, I'll sit down with you. Not tomorrow, though, you said, huh? Too much to do? That's fine.
I will be back August 25th.
I'll see you in September.
Okay.
Send me in
You want-
September.
you wanna wait that
Any other
long?
school member on, though, I want to go through this whole budget.
You want to
Totally.
wait that long?
I'm fine with that. She's
Okay.
going on vacation. I'm not going to bother tomorrow going on vacation, you know?
Okay, all right.
Next
you.
item is enrollment.
Okay, enrollment. All right, in front of you right now, you have the report as of June 26th. This is our enrollment. I want to make you all aware, this does not include new registrations or anything like that. I also want to make you aware that what we go through on a month-to-month basis changes, and I believe you have a chart in there that shows that at each of the schools, as we have an influx of students that come in during certain times of the year. Particularly if you look at the 2013-14 public school annual enrollment, you will notice that Pell School started off with 854 students. You'll notice when you get to, let's say, January, we have 872 students at Pell. February, we have 884. March, about the same, 883. Then we have 881. And then in May, we have 877. And then we have our military during May and June starting to leave. So you'll notice we have 867. So we started with 854, and we ended the year with 867 officially registered at Pell. But I think you need to know the whole story and look at the whole story to understand the enrollment fluctuations in the district. Now, if you go to Thompson Middle School, they started with 565. They did not have as dramatic a change as Pell did, but again, their numbers rose. In January, they're at 570, 573, 577. April, they're at 576, and they end the year at 579. So they start the year at 565, and they end the year with the military withdrawing at 579. The high school tells us another story, and I think it's not a story we like to see, especially at the high school level, but it also reflects what research shows us. We have an incoming ninth grade class of 556. In October, a month later, we have 540. We're already 16 down. And if you watch after that, at the high school level, January, we're at 530. February, 534, 535. We kind of stabilize, and then again, at the end of the school year, we have 524. A different story at the high school, starting with 556 and ending at 524. Now, that can be for many reasons, as we know, as it could be at all the other levels. It could be that some of the students that were planning on attending public high school did not change their mind. So in the September enrollment, we had a higher number there. Or they moved suddenly, left. There's many reasons. But that is something, as a school district, we're focused on, and we need to focus on this fall when we have our incoming Rogers High School students arrive at our doors. We need to be keenly aware of how many are registered, and in October, how many are still registered. And that is one of the goals and functions. I know the data team, led by Doreen Schlackman, reporting to Osiris Gonzalez, that team is looking at it very carefully. I know in the spring of last year, working with Eddie Merritt and working with the Thompson team and the Rogers team, we started to change practices down here at the high school in April, May, June. We need to implement those practices immediately when school begins. So we have robocalls set up. We have follow-ups, home visits set up. We have grant opportunities we're seeking as well to help increase our attendance on a regular basis and our enrollment. So this is the enrollment.
Is it at all levels of high school? Is it in the 9th, 10th, 10th, 11th, 12th? Or is it a lot of it 9th grade?
A lot of it is the earlier grades, 9 and 10, that we're seeing this. Now, to your question about attendance, oh, and that's in my report as well. You'll see in red, you'll see a report that says students enrolled regular public school. And what it does is it looks at students 10% absent or more. And then from there, I look at the average daily membership. And that's how we look at the percentage that are out from the different subcategories. And Dr. Shoemaker, when we spoke on the phone this morning, I was thinking this is kind of the data you were looking for. So if we look at 2012-13, we identified 478 students in our district that were absent from school 10% or more. And that's 18 days or more. In 2013-14, the number is less. It's 341. And then you'll look at the annual ADM, average daily membership. In 2012-2013, the average daily membership for this school district was 2,000. In 2013-2014, it was 1942. approximately 48 less students. The divisor always is and was based on the average daily membership for that school year. So for instance, in the category of white students in our district, in 12-13, 18% were absent 10% or more. This year, 11%. Last year, our Native American subgroup, 32% in 12-13. This year, 28%. Asian Pacific Islander children, 18% in 12-13 were absent. In this year, 13-14, 5%. Black, 30% in 2012-13, 24% this year. Hispanic children, 30% were absent 10% or more in 2012-13, and 25% this year. We also looked at the demographics as far as free, reduced, and paid lunch. For the children that receive free lunch, 31% were absent in 12-13, in 13-14, 24%. Reduced lunch cost, 13% of our students were absent in 12-13, and in 13-14, 14%. So that stayed a little level. And then in paid lunch, those children who pay for their lunch, 14% were absent in 12-13, and 9% were absent in 13-14. We will continue using this model going forward, so you have consistent data. And we will do this on a monthly basis.
Could we add one more category? Could we add ALP to
Sure.
that? And just to break it out, to see if we, if there's any discrepancies on kids attending.
Right. And what we'll also do is, we will do it on a school-by-school basis. To your point, is it happening at the elementary, is it happening at the middle school, or is it happening at the high school? I think if you look at the absenteeism, if you look at the attendance, and we look at absenteeism, you will see that high school had a higher rate of absenteeism than the other. There was some slight improvement, as you can see, from all of them, but we need to do more. So we are breaking that down.
It's so good.
Yes, I think there was, especially with the robocalls, I think the follow-up. And we did have staffing shortage, if I'm not mistaken, in the fall. Before I arrived, there was some staffing reduction, or staff that was not available, the capacity. Yes,
I think we need one more column,
another column?
and that would be the number of kids that particular race. For example, Asian Pacific Islanders were 18% in 12-13, and now they're 5% in 13-14. It looks like a significant jump, and it's good, but was there 20 kids and now there's 12? In other words, we don't know how many kids are in this column.
Right, so you don't,
So, yeah, I need to know, if you want me to look at this periodically, I need to know if in 12-13, there was 20 Asian
Yep.
Pacific kids, and in 13-14, there was 5.
Right.
That could be why it was only 5%.
Okay.
So I would need to know how many kids are in each.
okay, and so just to clarify, these reports, when this data is taken and when the ADM and the numbers are taken to divide, they have the actual numbers on that. I just didn't show that to you, but I can. So I think the percentages will remain what they are, regardless of the number of children.
So,
It's the number of children to the total is still the same. But I will have that, that's fine.
yeah, because that will give you, we could have a significant drop in Asian Pacific kids. Maybe not, I don't know that,
Right. I hear what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. What I'm trying to say is that the reports, the information is taken from, has that all accounted in the column of where I'm pulling it from, okay? The part to the whole. But I hear you. Yes.
I don't know what to make of this, but if you go back to 2012, 2013, 2013, 2014, and you look at Rogers' enrollment in June of 2013, and in September of 2013, there are
6 more kids.
few more kids there than there were, I would assume. No, that's not, yeah.
6
yeah.
more kids. were
So
enlisted
you
here.
wonder where,
Where are they going?
what grade was this? What influenced those numbers?
Correct, and that's, I can break down, I have that in the reports I took
Okay.
this from. So we can identify what grade levels had the highest absenteeism,
Yeah.
and I think that's what I'm hearing from you.
And what grade are they leaving Rogers?
Right, right.
And why?
Well, that,
mean, some
it
people
wouldn't
move.
tell you why.
Yeah.
That would be a whole nother data set.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I
if
have
they
another
move,
data
they
center
move.
for that. I do have that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you need a motion to adjourn?
Oh, no.
8.4, superintendent's update.
Okay.
Facilities.
We have a facilities report. And a facilities manager that's sitting over there, waiting.
Yeah, that's.
Nicely done, by the way.
You're on.
Yeah.
8.3.
Okay, so 8.3 you have in front of you, and I don't know if anyone has any questions. And if there are any
Looks like
comments,
it's
I have a
pretty,
question.
Pretty detailed, yeah.
Mrs. Bainball?
Okay, so my question is, the track, we discussed this today, the track out on the field, I don't know if you've gotten a chance to go out and view it yet, but
Not yet.
what?
No,
Yeah.
no, I haven't,
All right,
sorry.
well, it could probably get on your radar. I mean, last year we had no home track meets because of the condition. I know that belongs to the city, but this is something that maybe we could come up with a condition report so that we can take it to, the city and start really getting a conversation going. Because in Portsmouth now, they, were able to do a huge community fund, drive and matching funds, I think, from the school committee, but they were able to, we got to keep our facilities up. And, but this has recently come to our attention that this, the city really owns our fields. And so before we have anybody hurt out there, I think we need to really look at it. My son sent me pictures the other day and said, if you can't do anything about it, who can?
so thank you, Mrs. Boland. Mrs. Boland brought this up this afternoon, and I did not have an
Yeah, it just was late
opportunity to
this afternoon. It
speak
was like
with
5
Mr.
p.m.
Collins
Okay.
about
But
this.
just something to look on your radar, that, take a run around really carefully.
So, I have a question. Ms. Collins, I have a question for you. Did you take, at Pell School, did you take each room and take all the furniture out and clean it?
That's a normal process, yeah.
Okay, so at what point did the preschool rooms prefer to be taken out? Because there's people in the rooms use them still, right?
Those are the last ones. We're actually doing the first floor now, as I kind of stated to one of
So
the...
preschool furniture still in the room?
Yeah, so we start on the top floor and work our way down, but we need to, the building needs to be used. They're community buildings, so we need to adjust to what we're doing when we're cleaning. And that's kind of where I went in the last paragraph there. We need to change the way we approach buildings. If we have a building that's being highly used, then we need to clean the areas that we're going to clean and then take the staff and go and finish one of the other buildings. And then when those programs are all done, take all that staff and bring them back down there. Right now, we seem to be isolated in our own buildings, which isn't the way we should operate. We should be able to move staff around in accordance to where we're needed. So that's kind of what I'm alluding to when I talk about looking at the staff, little reorganization, and looking at the numbers.
So the preschool rooms have not been moved out yet?
Yes, they have. They're probably being done right now, and actually the hallways are being waxed on the first floor. So those preschool rooms that are anticipated to be moved to Kennedy are actually all staged in the gym right now, ready to go if that's where they're going.
Right, if that's where they're going.
Yep.
I've heard that the teachers already moved their stuff into preschool rooms and they camped them out about 2 weeks ago. So that's not true then?
No.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to clear, because I think that'd be inappropriate to pack the people up if they didn't have to the very end. And if they
Where-
moved out in the beginning of August, 2 weeks ago.
No, we're trying to wait till the last minute, but we're also trying to put ourselves in a position that when it happens, we can move.
No, I understand it's gonna be done,
Oh, yeah.
but I think if the people, there's rumors going around, and you just stopped them, thank you. At the beginning of August, they took all the preschool rooms, threw them all in the cafeteria or the gym, and then the teachers already moved their stuff in because they wanted to move in.
No, I haven't heard any of those rumors, and I would hope if there were any complaints or concerns about what was going on in the building,
That's fine.
they would be brought to me and we could address them.
Okay, I noticed that, like, it says shelving, this is for Pell School. Shelving in some rooms have pulled away from the wall. In general, still a lot of punch list items not completed. I'm just wondering why, over the summer, seems like a perfect opportunity for the contractor to come back in and fix it. Is that just something we haven't pushed, needs to be pushed?
No, we've been pushing, that's, in there, I like to meet with the building committee. There are a lot of things that weren't complete, and there are a lot of things I'm looking at I have questions about, but I need to understand where the building committee was in the whole thing. I don't want to start jumping on stuff that was left out because it was value engineered and everything.
Would they be, and typically though, would they be responsible for that if it
Of-
pulled away
of-
from the wall
yes, of
less than a
course they
year?
are. Of
Okay,
course
so-
they are.
Yeah, so I mean, something like that, it just would be nice to get it fixed over the summer. Maybe, we can
No,
start, if we
I
push
full-
them, maybe we should start
Nope,
like,
I understand that. To me, the punch list is a little extensive for a building that's been operating a year, and I'm trying to resolve that now.
okay, that's,
There's just a little bit too many issues going
yeah,
on
this is a
there.
long list.
So we're trying to resolve that now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent's update?
Hi, you'll notice this evening, I've included the homeless report, which you will continue to get every month. Unfortunately, we do have more families that are homeless from the beginning of the year, from September 13 to June 14. You'll notice that in the June 14 column, all the numbers have risen, and the number of families, students, how many at Pell, Thompson, Rogers, Bradley, et cetera. So we'll keep you informed on that, and we will continue to work with the families, direct them in areas in which we can provide services, or when we cannot provide the services, we do refer them to our partners in the community. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention.
Just for educational purposes, what is a homeless child mean?
What does a homeless child?
They're living in a
Definition.
motel or living in a car? What's the-
Hotel is homeless.
They can be living in a motel, they can be living in a car, they can be forced out of their residence and they're living with friends, or they move from day to day with other families. They just find a shelter or place to put their head down at night.
And what kind of federal aid is being provided?
The McKinney-Vento monies, federal funds, are provided to the district based upon what data and information we collect. The schools adjust as best as possible and with whatever resources we can provide.
Is it enough, though? I mean, granted, you're getting a little bit here, a little bit there, but is it enough money that they can't provide it, or is it just too many?
I think any time when a family or a child, when a child comes to school and is not aware of where they're going to be sleeping that night or who's going to be picking them up, that adds more challenges for the teacher and the administration as far as in the areas of student achievement or just supporting the children in general. When someone has to worry about where they're going to sleep or what they're going to eat, and we're asking them to do their homework, I think there are other indirect costs that I don't know if you can put a price tag on. But what we try to do is, when we're made aware of these situations, teachers, administrators, the school district, we try to reach out to different agencies to help lead families in the right direction, or we also apply for grants to see if we can help supplement some extra supports. And in particular, I'll just, from my short time here, behavioral supports and specialists that can help families deal with this is critical.
And how do we rank statewide in terms of, are we high at either end of the spectrum?
I would have to go and look at that. I don't know for sure, and I wouldn't want to take a guess.
Do
Mrs. Gaines says.
Is there any problem in having disclosure around homelessness? Do kids generally, are they open in bringing that information forward? How do you usually find out that a child is homeless?
It varies. It varies. We go from one extreme to the other. We usually do not find out full disclosure from the family. Sometimes it's a teacher's observation of what's going on with the child on a day-to-day basis. Their attendance is another indicator. Through busing, when a child is not being dropped off at his or her regular bus stop, that's an indicator that something is going on. I think our family school coordinators, our teachers in particular, and our administrators are very good at, seeing the changes in behavior, seeing the attendance issues start to happen, noticing, just simple, maybe to us, simple requirements of maybe bringing in something or getting something signed becomes very challenging for a child. And young children especially sometimes just tell us they're moving a lot.
Sad situation.
Mhm.
I guess we have one comment about future meetings. I guess we need a motion to receive.
Well, I do have one. You have my written report about what was going on at the Pell interviews, the evaluation training that people have been going through, an update on JFK. I will be meeting out at Pell about traffic concerns, making sure we tighten those up for this year. There is a Pell greeting and security desk. I just want that on the table, that I met with Ed and I met with Jim Farrar. We took a look at the front door. We have noticed through parent input, through teacher observation, through just the day-to-day operations of the building, how we need to identify better what is the main entrance at that building. And then the second part is, and you do have it in your budget, the balanced budget, and I'm just smiling saying that to you, for an additional clerk for Pell School to help with the security and to help with greeting, being more family-friendly and more open to families, and it is a need. So you see that as far as the security desk. Postings, I've mentioned to you, the Tuesday agenda, the RHS schedule. I did have someone come in, review the schedule, look at the course assignments, and to help support the administration over there, because there has been questions in the past about scheduling. The person was very good. I heard, as a matter of fact, I got a call back during the meeting. I'll be speaking with that person. But through the administration, I heard that the person felt everything went well. It looks like the schedule is moving along and has assigned students appropriately. I will bring to your attention, we still have 38 students for PE that have not been scheduled at the high school. And I will bring to your attention that we did have a very challenging time last year with scheduling students appropriately for PE. So when we're having discussions about students in PE, I want you to understand that the base you're looking at from last year was not necessarily the base for appropriate staffing to meet the needs of the students that were there then. So I just want to be very clear on that. And let me see. Finally, tonight's consent agenda, I do feel I should make mention of something that we usually do not make mention of. And I think it's very important that everyone be aware that this afternoon, James Nelson, principal of the high school, sent in his letter of resignation from principal of Rogers High School effective August 26, 2014. He wanted to thank me, I'll read it. I thank you and the Newport Public Schools for the opportunities afforded me during my tenure here. I'm proud of what we accomplished and believe that Rogers High School is well-positioned for the future. If I can be of assistance during the period of transition, please let me know. So I do want to make everyone aware that Mr. Nelson did hand in his letter today. I do want to say I did not have the opportunity to work a long time with Principal Nelson, but he is a fine man, and I do appreciate all his efforts and all he has done for Rogers High School. It is, I don't want to reveal anything further about his future plans because the T hasn't been crossed and the I hasn't been dotted yet, but he felt out of the best interest for our students, our staff, our community, that he inform the community and all of you now of his plans for his future. And he just thought we need to move forward, and I will be speaking to people about putting in an interim as soon as possible so that the community, the teachers, the parents, and all of you can participate in our search for a new Rogers High School principal. So I want to thank Mr. Nelson. It was a short time, but I really appreciate him as an individual, and he's a very good man. So thank you.
A motion to receive
What-
reports if we're done?
Well, no, not done, but we can take a motion to receive the reports,
So
So,
moved.
second.
comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Future meetings, it's listed for Tuesday, August 26th. Now, I prefer the Thursday, or if that's possible, the 28th.
That's my birthday.
We'll sing for you.
Change the date from Tuesday last meeting.
We'll bring a cake.
No, we're not gonna meet Ms. Gaines' birthday, give her a break. Oh, maybe give Paul a break.
Well,
No, I'm only kidding. It is my birthday, though.
Is 28th acceptable, Becky? What time will we?
4:45?
Is that what we will do? Is that all right?
It's up to all of you.
If you don't mind, I appreciate the 28th. Thank you very much.
We will bring cake.
Well,
All right, we'll take a
I'm on
motion
that.
for, I'm sorry?
I'm on that. Birthday party.
Yeah.
One thing, I wanted to know when we
Change the
might,
date.
oh gee. We needed a meeting. Oh, the inspection.
Yeah.
Ed, we have an annual inspection of the buildings. Now we only have 3 to visit.
Yeah.
Before the kids come in, usually the Friday before, if the buildings are ready for school committee inspection.
Some morning, set it up.
It's usually the Friday morning, the last,
Oh, no.
okay, whenever you're ready.
Entertain a motion for